Hello and welcome. Welcome to another Solution Sunday, where the soul is the solution.
Mhm.
I am here today. I'm Lisa Warner. I am the author of The Simplicity of Self-Healing, and I'm here today with my good friend Patra Heeley. Patra is a craniosacral therapist who is very in tune with natural healing. So today we're
Mhm.
going to be talking all about natural healing. And Patra, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Yay, I'm so happy to have you here. So let's start with craniosacral therapy.
Okay.
What is craniosacral therapy? I've heard all kinds of things about it. I've never had it done myself, but I
hmm
would love to hear more from your perspective.
Great. Well, craniosacral therapy is a light touch therapy, and it's based in osteopathic techniques. So Dr. Upledger, who created it, based quite a bit of our techniques on osteopathic techniques. So we do manipulate bone, some in the whole nervous system. So we work with the skull to the base of the spine and the sacrum. And we can release bones that are jammed or have some sort of dysfunction in them. And we also have an element of, so we call it somato-emotional release. So it's based on emotional healing and releasing trauma that has been caught within our tissues. So if there are any dysfunction within that system, the craniosacral system, it can just create all sorts of issues from pain to mental health issues to, neck issues. I mean, the list just goes on and on, organ dysfunction. So having your nervous system healthy and functioning well is very key in being healthy.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I love that because we really do store our issues in our tissues. Our
Mm-hmm.
our
Absolutely.
mind and our body are intimately interconnected,
Absolutely.
and
Mm-hmm.
whatever goes on in our minds is being responded to by our bodies.
Yes.
And when we have repetitive thought patterns of, I'm not okay, this isn't good, I'm in fear, I'm in danger, all of these repetitive patterns, the
Yeah.
body, they get ingrained in the tissues of our body.
Yes.
So we can release these things through
Mm-hmm.
emotional awareness, having
Yes.
some aha moments of
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, you're actually safe. Like this
Yeah.
isn't, and we can
Mm-hmm.
also release these things from the physical aspect.
Yes.
So I really love that.
Yes.
How did you get into doing craniosacral?
Well, during my own healing journey, when I had chronic Lyme disease, and during that journey, it was suggested to me that I start getting craniosacral therapy. And as I progressed in my therapy, I went to an intensive program as a client. So you're there for 5 days and you work for 2 to 3 hours in the morning and 2 to 3 hours in the afternoon with multiple therapists. And I had some very intense emotional releases that kind of propelled or catapulted my healing, because I really believe that as we're suppressing all of the emotional stuff, it just creates so much disease and dis-ease within our bodies. So getting in touch, releasing them, and there's so many ways to do that, really helped catapult my healing in a major way. So then I was like, oh, this is amazing. I have to do this. I have to learn this. And I started taking the trainings.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
It said that our greatest challenge is, once we overcome our greatest
Mm-hmm.
challenge, it becomes a way that we can help others who are
Yeah.
facing the same things.
Yes, absolutely. And I really felt, because when I was very sick, I had so much pain, I was very disconnected from my body. I became like just a head. Everything was mental. Everything was logical. And as I began releasing my own trauma, I was able to reconnect with my body. And now it's, emotions are challenging for a lot of people, but the more that you do it, the more familiar you become with releasing and emoting, the easier it becomes and the more present you can be with it while it's happening so that it doesn't get suppressed.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Emotions they're so personal.
Yeah.
It's like
Mm-hmm.
guilt or shame or fear or anxiety.
Yeah.
It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this is
Yeah.
mine. And, what
Right.
did I do? And how did I get here?
Yeah.
And, and that is what gets stuck in our cells.
Yeah.
Our bodies
Yes.
are designed to reflect who we
Mm-hmm.
are being.
Yes.
So when we're being guilty or ashamed, or
Yeah.
that all reflects in our physical structure.
Mm-hmm. And it manifests in our lives.
Exactly.
And I have found for myself with my own work, because I took this training that I had and began to apply it to myself, that it's so easy to label and create stories around the emotions and give them so much meaning, and we make them really big.
Yeah.
And if we just break it down into the sensation and sit and focus on the sensation, allowing it to be there, giving it permission, and wait until the sensation is finished, that has been a very powerful way for me to move through it. Instead of going, oh, well, it's because of this, and I did that, and so said this, and going down the rabbit hole, just sitting with the sensation and identifying it. Oh, I feel pressure in my chest. My arms are tingling. My head's really hot. Whatever the sensation is, and sitting with the sensation until the sensation's done. Because our nervous system is just an electrical system, and it's just putting out electrical frequencies, or whatever the word is you want to use for that. So if we don't get too caught up in saying, oh, it's this emotion, and because of this story, and there was this event, and we don't have to relive the trauma.
Exactly.
We just need to feel the feelings until they're done feeling.
Right? I
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. Emotions are energy in motion.
Yes.
Energy in motion. And our
Mm-hmm.
bodies are designed to give us feedback about the energy that is around us. So our body is like a little satellite dish that is receiving information in the forms of frequency. And there are frequencies that are being, kind of shot through the collective all the time, whether it's from solar flares or from 5G or, like all kinds of things. And
everywhere.
They're literally just frequencies. So, I discovered this when I used to have panic attacks. I would have like just massive anxiety. Like all of a sudden I'd be out somewhere and I'd feel this feeling in the pit of my stomach. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I would go into this whole anxiety thing. And I didn't know what to do with it. And I would just run home and hide. And I'd be like, oh my gosh. And it would be so intense. And I'd be like, oh, what's wrong with me? And I would be like, oh my gosh, well, if I didn't, if I had more money in the bank, then I wouldn't be feeling all of this anxiety. And I'd have this whole story about it until finally one day, for whatever reason, I started to notice, like every time there was a solar flare, I would feel anxiety. And I was like, wait a second, like I'm feeling all this anxiety and now I'm reading like there was a big solar flare. Wait a second. And then the little light bulb went off and it was like, it's just energy. It's not anxiety. It's not the story about my money. I'm feeling energy. I'm feeling a frequency.
And your body's responding. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Mm-hmm.
from that moment on, I realized I can let go of this frequency from my body.
Yeah.
So what I did, I just, every time I started feeling that, I started breathing and I started inhaling and then exhaling the energy out through
Mm.
my feet down into the
Yeah.
ground. So I just started inhaling light and exhaling it through my body. And after breathing for a minute or two or 10 or whatever it took, that
Mm-hmm.
would move through my body
Yeah.
and I would feel so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, I realized, like, oh, it's the same whether we're feeling fear or doubt
Yes.
or
Yes.
guilt or shame. These
Mm-hmm.
are simply energies. Our
Mm-hmm.
body is giving us feedback.
Mm-hmm.
And once we put a little label on that energy, what am I feeling? Oh, well, I'm feeling guilt right now. It's like,
Right.
oh, it must be because, nope, I'm feeling the energy of guilt. That must be because there's guilt in my energy field. So if I gather up that guilt and clear it out and transmute it, then I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
feel it anymore. So I have these techniques where I just gather up that energy and clear it
Mm-hmm.
out of my energy field.
Yeah, that's
And it's
amazing.
gone,
Mm-hmm. It's so simple, right?
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing.
Yeah. I think the human condition is to complicate things. And it's really not nearly as complicated as we've turned it into.
Exactly.
And understanding the why of everything is really trying to have all the answers is not really going to get you where you need to go. It's just being present with your body and your emotions or whatever's happening, the pain. That is the most powerful thing you can do. Paying attention.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
it. Exactly.
Yeah.
What I also learned, that you touched on this too, is that when we're feeling pain in our bodies, like we don't like feeling pain in our
Right.
bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're feeling that and we're not sure why it's there and we have some fear about it, those things tend to knock us out of our body. Like we step out of the body and go, I
Oh
don't
yeah.
want to be in there. And
Mm-hmm.
we end up literally not being in our bodies. We move
Mm-hmm.
out into the emotional and mental bodies and just go, I don't want to be in that physical space because that's really
Yeah.
uncomfortable in there.
Yeah.
And then we don't even know that we're not present in our
Mm-hmm.
body.
Yeah. Dissociation is very common.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. We just pull right out. We don't want to
Exactly.
feel it. We don't want to know it. Yeah, it can be overwhelming, but as you sit with yourself and become familiar with who you are and the body that you're in right now, you can really find a place of presence and be able to heal and transmute so much of that just by slowing down
Yeah,
and being
exactly.
brave. Sometimes it takes courage to be brave and step back in and feel the feels, all of them.
Right? We've
Hmm.
been we've been taught to be afraid
Of
of the
everything.
sensations in our bodies.
Yes.
Exactly, we've been taught to be afraid of everything. You're right.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, like our bodies aren't trustworthy and
exactly.
that they're just here to
Right.
hurt us or cause
Yep,
pain or whatever. And they're
exactly.
not. They're our best friends. They communicate
Exactly.
everything to us. They tell us everything. They really are wise.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really think that the current medical model does a massive disservice to the
Yeah.
intelligence of our bodies.
It really can. And I have experienced that myself as well. Trying, through my healing journey with Lyme disease, they just wanted to pound it with antibiotics and it was so destructive.
Yeah.
It really was. So, yeah, just the standard medical model is not always for our benefit either.
It is
Mm-mm.
not precise.
No.
And we're taught that all of these, our body's language is symptoms. That's how our body communicates. And the symptoms, we're told that the symptoms mean that we're being attacked by some disease.
Yeah, and they need to be quieted.
Right?
And you only quiet the symptoms. That does not resolve the problem.
Exactly.
Mm-mm.
And because the symptoms are not signs that we're being attacked by diseases, the remedy isn't really helping us. Once we start to realize that the symptom in our body means something completely the opposite of what we've been taught,
right?
When we start to understand the language of our bodies, we start to understand the health that is there. We start to understand there's nothing wrong with the body ever.
Yeah, and it's trying to communicate. So putting your awareness into the symptom is just another way to support your body in its healing process.
Exactly.
And it's whatever it is trying to communicate with you, because there's, like you were saying, there's a language, and we have to become familiar and fluent in the language of our bodies. And it's been so foreign to us that we don't even know what it's trying to say.
Exactly. The universe works on universal law. Like there are very specific ways that the universe works, and it works the exact same way for everybody all the time. The universal laws never change, they never vary. And once you understand universal laws, you simply can work with the universe and create all the things that you want to create. And there are biological laws about how our bodies function. But I would be willing to bet for 99% of the population, if you go to your doctor and you ask, what are the 5 biological laws, they would look at you like with a blank stare. And what are you talking about? The current medical model they've never learned biological law. They've only learned pharmaceutical law. It has nothing to do with biological law.
Yeah, well, and I think they only have like a few hours on nutrition as well, which is so counter, to healing your body.
Right?
It's not, if you're not giving your body what it needs, it can't function properly either.
Right? Exactly. If you're living on a diet of soda and chips,
guess what?
Which, fast food, which, a vast majority of the American population, I think, lives on fast food and,
the standard American diet.
Right? The microwave things from, and it has come to my attention over the last few years, when I go to the grocery store, it's like, I just skip over the majority of the aisles.
Oh yeah, me too. I have very specific things I get at the grocery store. Everything else I get at our local market or from a farm or something like that. It's just not even not interested.
I go to the grocery store for toilet paper and paper towels and things like that. But it's harder and harder to even find just organic vegetables at the grocery store.
Oh yeah. Well, and they're not even in the best condition when you can find them.
Right.
So you don't know how long it's been in shipment to get to where you are. So local is always the best choice above and beyond anything else.
Exactly. And local, like you're eating the things that are in season, the things that grow by you. And, there's real power in that.
Yeah. And it supports your community as well.
Exactly.
By supporting the farmers that are in your area.
Yeah.
We have a store in our area called the Chesapeake's Bounty, and it only carries things from the Chesapeake watershed. And I love that. Absolutely love that. So we shop there as often as we can.
Ah, that's beautiful.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Finding places like that in your community is really important.
exactly. I love farmers market season. It
Yes.
doesn't, kind of from December, January, February, March, April, May, kind of we don't
Hmm.
have that same, farmers market, but
Right.
it's really lovely as soon as it opens back up in the summer and we can go
Hmm.
and develop a relationship with the farmers and
Yeah.
find out how they're growing these things and give them more support and let them know that we appreciate them and you
Yes.
and we know where our food is coming from. We know
Yes.
what's going on with it.
Hmm. Yes. And I would find it very important. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many people can't eat bread, they feel like they have this gluten intolerance and
Hmm.
my but then they say, well, but I went to Europe and I ate the bread all the time and I had no problem. It's like,
Hmm.
so I don't think it's the actual bread. Like I don't think there's a problem with the gluten intolerance. I think there's a
Right.
problem with all of the stuff that is sprayed on the
Oh, yeah.
breads and
Yes. And that it's genetically modified. The wheat is,
exactly.
and then all of the garbage that they include in the breads too.
Yeah,
It's not just flour. There's so much more included in commercial bread that's our bodies can't even digest to begin with.
exactly. We're not
Mm.
really meant to be digesting inorganic substances.
No. Mm-mm. Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. Unless
I,
it produces oil naturally, we shouldn't be eating those oils.
right?
Hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now you're kind of an expert in the realm of sourdough bread.
Oh, sourdough is one of my favorite things to do, to make and to eat. It's my one of my favorite hobbies at this point. I just experiment with it. But I find I can digest sourdoughs so much easier than even plain organic bread. Having it fermented and soaked, that is the way the ancient people prepared bread. Commercial yeast didn't exist until sometimes the 1800s, something like that. I don't quote me, but before that, bread was always sourdough, always. And I think that's the way it's meant to be.
Ah,
Yeah, so the fermentation breaks down the phytic acid so that our bodies can digest it so much easier. And it introduces the whole fermentation into your body as well. So it can support in healing your gut as opposed to bread breaking it down, regular bread breaking it down. So it's been key in my healing process, sourdough bread has. And I think also that often it is made to be very complicated, that it needs to look a certain way and you have to do all the perfect things. And I call myself a lazy baker. I just throw the stuff together, I let it sit, I might mix it a little bit, but I'm not too worried about it being the most beautiful thing. I just want it to taste good and to be good for my body. That's the most important aspect of sourdough for me.
exactly. And
Yeah.
you've been teaching me how to do the
Yes.
sourdough
And you've
stuff.
been doing pretty amazing. I've
Yeah,
loved your pictures.
thanks. I've only made a couple of loaves of the bread. I'm still not like great at doing the bread part.
It just takes time.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of experimentation, I think, to get it
Yeah.
to be a good consistency and
Yeah. Is it still too dense?
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Maybe a little more water, a little more mixing,
Hmm.
but you'll get there. But I do love that you're experimenting with other ways and making yourself pancakes. Have you made like
Yeah.
flatbreads or anything like that?
I haven't done the flatbread yet,
Mhm.
but I've figured out the pancake part, which
Okay.
I've never been a big pancake person, but they're
Okay.
actually pretty tasty.
Nice.
And then you said that you could use the starter for like a thickener. So I
Mhm.
had roasted a chicken the other night, and I used the sourdough starter in the gravy, and wow, the
Nice.
gravy turned out amazing.
Oh, how nice. I bet it gave it a lovely flavor.
Oh, it did. It was
Oh,
like some of the
good.
best gravy ever. So
Oh,
I'm
that's so
definitely going to keep
exciting.
doing that.
Yes. With the flatbread, I just pour the sourdough starter into a frying pan and then sprinkle some herbs on it and some salt and whatever, and put a lid on it and let it cook. Maybe flip it, and then I have bread with my dinner.
Yeah. I mean,
It
that's
doesn't
kind of
have
how
to
I
be
make the
fancy.
pancakes too.
Yes. Yeah.
Do
And
you
so you,
use
you can do a savory or you can do a sweeter version.
gotcha.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I'll have to give that a shot too. Make a sourdough pizza or something.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. I just use my regular bread to make pizza.
Yeah.
When I'm making my loaf, I just take part of it and put it in a little olive oil and let it sit for a while. And then I spread it out and put my pizza and bake it.
Wow.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be a specific recipe. It's water, salt, flour, and starter. And you just experiment with the consistency that you want.
Right.
Hmm. Yeah.
Wow. That's awesome. I don't know if you can hear my printer decide to print something. I don't know what
Oh, no, I can't hear it.
Okay,
But
cool.
I understand. Technology for you and me has just been a little
Yeah,
interesting.
it's pretty funny when we get together. Oh my goodness. Wow. So so how did you so how did you end up overcoming the your Lyme disease?
Okay. Let's see. So when I was diagnosed initially with Lyme disease, um, I had been trying to deal with bipolar with psychotic episodes.
Mm,
So I was very mentally and emotionally unstable. And through a series of events, I found a natural neurologist, and she helped me clear up candida, which then we were able to see the Lyme. And the Lyme is really what caused all of the mental instability and emotional instability, according to the process I've been through.
right.
And it was neurological Lyme, which I didn't know anything about. So then I went into conventional medicine. I went back for some reason, did all the antibiotic stuff. It was like I fell asleep for a little while. And then I came back and went, okay, wait a second, this isn't working. And I was working with some naturopaths who put me on homeopathic remedies, nosodes for Lyme disease. And nosodes are similar to regular homeopathy, which is based on plants, where they take diseased tissue and then dilute until it's the energetic component of the tissue. And then so like cures like in homeopathy. So these are specific vials. I took them. It was very painful, but once I was finished, I like was in shock because all of my symptoms were gone. I no longer had pain. I no longer had any of the Lyme disease symptoms, which was shocking. It was almost like for a while I got depressed. Like, why is this happening to me? I
Right.
mean, why am I being so blessed with this opportunity? And then I realized I still needed to do some other healing, emotionally, of course. And that it catapulted me into the emotional aspect of rebuilding my body and having a healthier way of experiencing life. So homeopathy was really key. Essential oils, the Weston A. Price diet, um, craniosacral therapy, and other modalities. And more recently, I've been using a lot of acupuncture with a friend of mine. Well, she's been giving me acupuncture, and that has been amazingly supportive as well. So there's been a lot of and I did a lot of trial and error. I'm very much into experimentation. Like,
Right.
let's see if this helps. Let's see if this helps. And I'm learning now that the more still that I am, the more that I sit in quiet and connect with myself, the more I can trust that I will find the answers that I need, the direction that I need. I still need support from other practitioners and so forth, but ultimately I can find the answers to that on my own.
Exactly.
And it was almost like the universe said, well, I've been giving it to you all along. Do you not know where it's coming from? This is not from anyone other than me and you. It's in you already. And it was very humbling when I had that experience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to look externally. I don't need to seek other people for validation or for my answers. I can trust that I have them.
Exactly. I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I can get confirmation as I'm going along, going, oh, yeah, that's it. Oh, that's it. Somebody says something, or I get some synchronicities or whatever. Just the universe telling me headed in the right direction. But ultimately, I know, and I can trust that you have that same connection, and my clients have that same connection. And I can trust that the universe within them, or the wisdom that they have inside of them, is leading and guiding them. I don't have to tell them. I can support them and facilitate them, but they know their answers. They just need to find them.
Exactly.
And that has transformed even the way I work with my clients.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they do.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things, when I found myself facing cancer, one of the things that I really thought about in the beginning of my journey was, if I go the medical route, it's like I'm giving the doctor credit for healing me, or I'm looking to somebody else to heal me. And it's like, I don't believe that that's why I'm here. Like, I believe that I am here to learn how to be my own healer, to be master of my own universe. And it was really clear to me that, every time my body had ever had a cold or a flu or a sprain or a blister or a cut, my body had always healed itself.
Right? That's exactly it. Right? It already has the wisdom.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up just taking the route of, all right, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to ask for guidance. And I'm going to ask every day, what do I need to know about this in order for it to change? And every day I sat and I asked the same question until I got the answer. And when that answer dropped in, it was just like,
exactly.
The universe opened up and it became completely obvious.
Yes. And I think what's key in all of this is that we realize that only we can be responsible for us. Exactly. Only I can be responsible for myself. And also taking back our power. Taking back your power and trusting that you will have the answers. They're in there. You just need to wait until they arrive for you. And seeking somebody else to tell you what to do is, in my opinion, has become counterintuitive to what I have discovered in my own journey. Exactly. I can bounce it off people, my friends, my colleagues. What do you think of this? And how about that? And just to kind of discuss it. But ultimately, the answer lies within me and within you for yourself. Exactly. And I trust that you know what you need. Mm-hmm. And I think that's massive in taking back our power in our healing journeys.
Without a doubt. Yes. We are all hardwired right into source.
Yes. Yes.
But we've all been taught to think, and we've all
Mm-hmm.
been taught what
Yeah.
to think and what, we've all been
Yeah.
taught what is.
Well,
And
yeah,
then,
and that God and the universe are out there somewhere.
yeah,
And we're pleading and begging for our prayers to be answered. But
right.
believing that God is somewhere else and
Mhm.
not here inside of us and with us all the time
Exactly.
creates disconnection and fear.
Yeah,
So acknowledging that God is what the universe is right here.
exactly. I
Mhm.
am that. I
Right. In there. In
Yes.
there is it exists. It's in there. Yeah.
Yep.
So yes.
One and the same. Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's where like religion does a really disservice, telling us that God grants us these favors, or
Right.
we want to go and beg for
Right.
forgiveness, or do
And
this
that we're
for me,
sinful in
right?
nature, that we're sinful in nature is
Yeah.
that was I was very religious up until maybe 5 years ago.
Ah,
And that was really ingrained in me, and how I needed to overcome my own sin and shame and guilt and all the stuff. And then finally I came to a realization, like we're talking about, where it was like, wait a second, nothing is wrong with me. I'm allowed to be
exactly.
sad. I'm allowed to be mad. I'm allowed to feel hurt. I'm allowed to express myself. There's
Exactly.
nothing wrong with any of that. Of course, I've done things in the past that I wish I hadn't done, but I did them. What am I going to do about it now? I need to find peace with that and
Exactly.
overcome that, as opposed to continuing to try and, I don't know, reconcile myself with God. It's just, I'm
Right.
in good standing. I'm his creation. It's creation. I'm the powerful one. What am I
Exactly.
doing? It
Right.
was it was a real huge awakening for me.
Yeah. Good for
Just
you.
did so much.
Yep.
Just realizing that I am perfect the way I am.
Yes. Yep. And
Yeah.
unconditional love is
Yes.
literally unconditional. It's not like I love you when you're being a good girl, and oh
Yes.
no, now you've pissed me off. So
Yeah.
that's not how it works.
No. God, the universe is always the same, always unconditional. There is no shifting and changing based on your behavior.
Yeah,
Your essence is beauty and love and power and all of these wonderful things. So how can my behavior shift my value?
right.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
Exactly. We're these amazing beings of light. We are these
We
eternal
are.
beings here having a physical experience. And we're
Yes.
really exploring the opposite of who we are. We're
Mm-hmm.
non-physical beings exploring what it's like to be physical in physical
Mm-hmm.
form. So if we're exploring
Right.
the opposite of who we are, it's pretty much expected that we're going to do shame and blame and guilt and doubt and all of those
Right.
things, because that's
Mm-hmm.
the opposite of who we are. So we're
Mm-hmm.
actually here to explore those things.
Yes.
There's no sin in that. There's
It's
no
all about
shame in that.
experience and experiment, trial and
Exactly.
error, and making mistakes and learning from them. And
Yeah,
it's the journey that matters.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And because we have all been taught that we need to be perfect, and all of these other things, there's so much trauma in this
Yes.
world, and then
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to heal from the trauma. There's nothing wrong with our physical bodies. Our physical bodies are simply embodying the trauma that we've
Mm-hmm.
experienced.
Yeah. And that's been passed down to us through
Yes.
our genetics and through our DNA. And that
Yes.
can also be healed and released.
Yes.
There is no, as far as I'm concerned, like, oh, your mother had this, so that means you have it.
Right.
That's not necessarily the
Not
case
how it
at all.
goes. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, you
No.
can experience the same trauma that your mother experienced, and then your body will exhibit the same symptoms that your mother's body exhibited,
Mhm.
because whatever type of trauma it is, your body's going to experience the exact same things. Everybody that, everybody that has pancreatic cancer, they've all been through the exact same type of trauma. So it's like you just look at the body and see what the body's doing, and then you can go, oh, well, you have had this type of trauma. Here's what you need to release.
Yeah.
Whether it's Lyme disease or cancer or, you simply look at the symptoms and the body is telling you what the trauma was.
Yeah. The most powerful thing in my healing was realizing how much of my Lyme disease was caught up in fear.
Absolutely.
And
we're taught
as
to fear our bodies.
Yeah. But fear of everything.
Yes.
And when I was doing that intensive program and some of my trainings, I would, during my sessions, I would shake on the table, my body releasing the fear, that fear response of shaking, even delayed. It released it in the same way, and then it wasn't there anymore. And I found so much more healing as I continued to release that. That was just very major. The fear was overwhelming and completely shut me down and made me sick, or susceptible to sickness or however. So yeah, emotional healing is key in the process. And it is my favorite aspect of my work is somato-emotional release. And some clients are there and some clients are not. And some clients get there over time. It's a process for everyone discovering their bodies and the power that they have within them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Once we start to kind of see how this society is set up, it's designed to keep us in fear. All we have to do is turn on the news and it was like, bam, all 24/7, fear,
Right.
fear, fear. This is terrible. Look at this. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And so it's like trauma after trauma. And we don't even realize that, by turning on the TV, we're just inviting trauma into our lives.
Right.
We're inviting in all of that programming. We've been programmed since childhood. Sent off to school. Here's what you're going to think, and here's how you're going to think, and here's when you're going to think, and all of these thought patterns that have just been programmed into us, and we just think that it's normal because it's just the way it has always been. It's not normal at all.
Not really. No. Yeah, the conditioning is pretty invasive.
Exactly. Once we start to see that we are being conditioned, that's when we're able to take our power back and say, no, I'm not going to participate in that anymore.
Yes. And remove yourself from it. And then you're relearning everything, remembering. There's a lot of remembering that's been going on in this process, I think, for all of us who are on this journey, remembering who we are and who we truly are, and knowing our identity and understanding our innate abilities and power to impact not only ourselves, but the world around us, our environment, our family, our friends, our community. And it's shifting. It's really shifting things in a massive way. And it's kind of like an underground movement that's happening. It's not in the mainstream media or anything like that, but it's happening.
Absolutely.
It is happening.
Yes. And, I think that, even though we talk about like underground movement, I feel like it's like an
way above
movement. It's like we're creating a higher level society over the top of the old.
Yes. I like that better. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, once we start really making the choice to raise our vibration, to live in alignment with who we truly are, to start remembering who we are, to start taking back our power, then, we start making these choices, and then everything starts coming to us.
It does.
All of the people that are aligned with us, all of the information
Right.
that we need,
Mm-hmm.
the answers, everything just starts coming to us. We don't
Mm-hmm.
have to even go looking for it, which is
Yeah.
just beautiful,
I mean, that's how you and I met, right?
right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Uh-huh. The right
Yeah.
things, the right time that bring the right people together in the right ways.
Mhm.
It's really, really cool.
Yeah, having a like-minded community around
Yeah.
us.
Yes.
And what I really love about, having like-minded community and like-minded friends is that we're always looking at the best in each other.
Yes.
It's like the external world wants to reflect, like, what's wrong with you? And you're a sinner, and all of
For
those
all
things
the things.
that are
Yeah.
being projected at us all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
then we absorb, like, oh no, I'm not okay. What's wrong with me? But
Mm-hmm.
then when we're in this like-minded community of friends who are really high vibe and really realize that we can create heaven on earth, and that we're grand beings of light, we start reflecting the grand beings of light back and forth to each other, and we start
Mm-hmm.
empowering each other to see the best in ourselves,
Yes.
to clear away all of those old notions of, we're not okay and we're a failure, and
Yes.
all of those things.
Yes. And we elevate each other and encourage each other to reach higher and further and accomplishing our dreams and manifesting them. And it's just been so wonderful connecting with this wonderful group that we've come together through.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And what I really love about being surrounded by like-minded community is that, our dreams start manifesting so quickly, and our
Yes.
lives can just start changing so fast in the higher vibrations. There's none of this density, and none of the
Right.
doubt and the worry, and all of those things that bog us down and don't
Hmm.
allow things to just flow with ease and grace. And we are creator beings.
We
So
are.
the more we raise our vibration, the quicker the manifestations happen, and the quicker we
Hmm.
can move and change and grow, and
Hmm.
really cool stuff that we've never even thought about all of a sudden starts showing up in our lives, like all these
Yeah.
opportunities that we never would have even dreamed of before.
Yes. Yes. And it's very exciting. Hmm.
It is.
Hmm.
I think life is meant to be enjoyed.
Yeah. It's meant to be an adventure.
Exactly.
Yes.
It's like we're really designed in divine perfection. And
Hmm.
when we're living in alignment with who we really are, we're living in peace and ease and
Yeah.
harmony and abundance and sharing and
Yeah.
caring and harmony and respect and love and all of
Hmm.
those things, which
Hmm.
just make life so magical and
Hmm.
enjoyable and
Hmm.
fun.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. It just makes things really the whole purpose of being here just it becomes so much more interesting and open and expansive. And I've just this has just really been an amazing journey from I mean, and I think, as a child there was elements of all of this that got reconditioned or conditioned differently and changed. And you then it's like you have to go down in the hole so that you can come back out, and then you come out with all this experience and wisdom, and you're like, oh, here, let me help other people out of the hole. It's just part of the whole thing.
Right?
Hmm.
Yeah, I love
Yeah.
that. And I really I look at this world as, I think we're not going to be going down in that hole so much anymore. It's like,
I love that.
it's not about going down into the hole anymore. It's
No.
about becoming whole as
Yes.
opposed to
Yeah.
diving down in the hole.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so now really it's about how do we build a beautiful planet and a beautiful experience for everybody? Like, what else can we build that's actually constructive and
Yes.
helps foster community and
Mhm.
well-being?
Yes.
We've done the destructive for a really long time.
Yes.
Like, now it's time to elevate the game and start creating better for
Yes.
ourselves.
Absolutely. Hmm. Yes, bringing heaven on earth, right?
Exactly. Right?
Hmm.
We are these divine beings of light, and there's no reason why we need to struggle and strive and, trying to heal ourselves from all the trauma. Let's just stop inflicting trauma on each other, and let's just start really learning how to live rather than
Yes.
just
Let's
survive.
thrive. Thrive instead of survive. Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm
Right.
doing.
I love that. Oh my gosh. This has just
Hmm.
been so much fun. Is there anything
Yes.
else that you want to share with the audience?
Hmm. Right off the top of my head, I can't think of anything in the moment, but I do also offer long distance work if anybody is interested, and they can reach me on my website at patrahealey.com.
Beautiful.
Yes, yes,
Great.
and I'm very, very excited to be working with long distance clients as well.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yes,
Yeah. How does that work when, how do you work long distance?
it's all energy, Lisa. It's all energy.
Right?
Yes, yes.
Quantum entanglement.
Yes, exactly. Hmm.
Yeah,
And it's very, you know, I, you don't have to have your hands on someone to be connected to them.
exactly.
Hmm.
Right.
Yeah,
In the non-physical realms, there is no distance. There is no
there isn't,
separation,
there is not.
right? We've
Yeah,
just been so trained to look at the physical realm and like, I'm over here and you're over
right,
there, and there's all this space in between.
right.
We have to
Like we're
create this
separate
linear
from each
distance.
other. Yeah,
In the
we're not.
non-physical realms, we're all one, we're all connected.
We are.
Yep,
Hmm.
I love that.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, beautiful. So if,
yes,
if anybody is looking for craniosacral, you are in the Chesapeake Bay area.
yes. Southern Maryland, actually. Yes. And
Beautiful.
those of us who are in Southern Maryland know where that
Yeah, right.
is. But also, it doesn't matter where you are. We
Exactly.
connect one way or another.
So I can personally vouch for the quality of Patra's work. She is such a kind and generous human
Mm,
being. She is fully connected to source, and I would highly recommend working with Patra if you need some energy work of any type. Please
ah,
reach out to her.
thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate that.
You're very welcome. Like, we all need to be able to recommend each other, and
We
when
do.
we know high quality people, there
Yes.
are plenty of people who are not high quality out there, and when we find the high quality ones, we want to make sure that everybody knows about them.
Yes, we do. Spread the word, right? Support each other.
Yes.
Absolutely. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. So I love that you're a testament to the ability to heal ourselves.
Well, thank you for letting me share my story.
Yeah, I
Mhm.
love that you really remind us that all answers are already right within us. And
Yes.
it's just a matter of getting quiet and tuning in and
Mm-hmm.
listening,
Mm-hmm.
not running in fear of our
No.
bodies and of these energies.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Patra, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been such a delight having you here.
Well, thanks for having me. I've really enjoyed our conversation and our time together. It's great to connect with you every time we do. I enjoy your company very much.
Likewise, likewise. And I hope we'll get together in person this summer.
Yes, I do too. Keep me in the loop.
I absolutely will.
Great.
Beautiful. So everyone, if you are looking to get in touch with Patra, please go to patrahealey.com. That's PatraHealey.
EY.com.
HEALEY.com.
Yes. Yes.
And if you're looking to get in touch with me, go to connectingyoutoyou.com. So thank you all for joining us for another Solution Sunday, because the soul is the solution. Thank you all for joining us today. Until next week, create for yourselves a great week.
Yes.
Bye for now.
Bye.